new products, and your emails. Listen live at ComputerAmerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@ComputerAmerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. I'm your host, Ben Crossman. Thank you for joining us. I hope all of you out there are wrapping up your week in a strong fashion. You having a good day, and well, we can make it a little bit better here with with today's show. So for those of you who did not check out all of our notes and things, today we have a company on called Opskins, spelled OPSKINS.com. You can check them out or head on over to ComputerAmerica.com. In the show notes, we have a link directly to their website. And, well, it's going to be a great interview because not only are we going to be talking about, the service in case maybe for some reason you haven't heard of them, well, we're also going to be talking about the idea of, these transactions. Sometimes they can go sideways or, it's in a lot of ways, it's, pretty hard to track any kind of online transaction. So they decided to come out with this idea of Wax and their initial coin offering and more. So we're going to talk about tokens and what it means for a decentralized virtual asset exchange platform. And I promise we'll break it down very, very simply, but just know it's going to be a great interview. So before we get into that, a few things. Like I mentioned, ComputerAmerica.com, show notes, everything you need to know about today's show can be found there at our website. While you're there, be sure to enter the contest, which we will be having a winner from our sponsor Logitech, and we'll be giving away that prize here, in a couple minutes. So stay tuned for that. And also be sure to check out the live video stream of the show. That's right. We are video as well as radio. Of course, we try to keep everything, audio friendly, but it's just another way to, enjoy the show and do what it is that we do. All right, so without further ado, why don't we just bring on our guest and get into this? So we're going to play this by ear, but joining us today is the one, the only, Mr. Malcom CasSelle, and he is the CIO of Opskins. And so, Malcom, thanks for joining us here on Computer America.
Well, it's my pleasure to be with you, Ben. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, no, this is going to be great. So, and I guess a good place to start would always be the beginning. And tell us about, the rise of Opskins, and tell us, kind of how you found yourself involved in, this new kind of marketplace.
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. Basically, Opskins was started by gamers for gamers. It's really interesting when one of our CTO was been playing CS:GO, so when it was still a mod on Half-Life, before it was like really a standalone game. And after playing for so many years, they had these things called skins. Basically, it's like a cosmetic item. You can change the wrapper around your weapon or your avatar inside the game, and you could trade them with other people. But it's really hard to trade with somebody you don't know, and it's like, well, it's like a Mexican standoff, right? Well, who gives who what first, right? And so, of course, lots of people got cheated, and it was really inefficient. And he said, you know what? We need a trusted third party. And so he came up with the idea of Opskins. And it was it just sort of took off almost instantly. And now it's the #1 marketplace in the world for buying and selling skins. And, the skins are from like CS:GO and from Dota 2 and PUBG and a bunch of other games. So, that's kind of like how it started. Our team includes actually several other people, one of whom who is sort of famous in that certainly amongst gamers. He's the guy who invented item trading. So way back in the 90s with Ultima Online and World of Warcraft Gold, there was a guy, Jonathan Yantis, who is also on our team, and William Quigley, who was on the board of that company. It was called IGE. They built that into a really successful business as well. So we have sort of the who's who of the item trading world in Opskins, and it's been a really exciting ride.
Yeah. So, and just to kind of get this out of the way, it sounds like, this is obviously, I've been playing WoW since it released. The idea of, gold sellers, gold traders. I'm not going to say that it doesn't happen. It happens all the time, but a lot of these companies operate in some kind of legal gray area where, maybe companies don't strictly endorse them, but the user base and they're reputable companies, but they're again operating kind of outside, selling the assets for a game outside of, let's say, what Blizzard or Steam would have you kind of do. So Opskins, are you guys operating with the consent of Steam and all them, or is this like an official kind of up and up kind of industry, or are you still in that kind of gray area?
So, item trading is a really important component of what makes games successful. Steam actually provides item trading as well. It's a really important function for gameplay and the excitement around the items. We're the first ones who created a secondary market where you could actually exchange the skins for money, or you could use money to buy the skins. And so we provide a really necessary function. Steam, it's just not something Steam can do. They can sell the skins and provide the skins to the market, but they're really not allowed to turn those skins back into cash, for example. Right. So we actually have a necessary function in the ecosystem, and that has really built, I think, set us up to be really important. But then we also really do. I mean, we spend millions of dollars to remove every month to make sure that no fraud is ever experienced by our users. So there is still fraud. People do come with stolen credit cards or PayPal, or they get to access people's account. But we have really, really high security. We reject the greater majority of transactions so that users don't get cheated. So we provide a function in the ecosystem that is, I guess, highly necessary. Otherwise, there would be a lot more disruptive experiences for people. They would lose items. There'd be more, theft and so forth. So because of the security and what we've invested in sort of fraud mitigation and so forth, we provide a necessary function to keep the whole thing functioning well.
Right.
So it's really like we sort of do that. We also created the software that everyone uses for item trading. So we open sourced it, gave it to the world. We built the systems that are trade bots that allow people to trade back and forth. So I think we view ourselves as guys who want to really make trading fun and fair. And so, I think everyone appreciates that, which is, I think, why we have so many backlinks from Reddit, and I think we have a great reputation. I think we have like a 4.8 out of 5, 4.9 out of 5 trust factor, and we answer people's questions in several minutes max. We put a lot into customer service to just make sure people are taken care of. And we've done that on purpose because, so there are guys out there, lots of people provide trading sites, but don't invest in that level of security and in that level of customer service. And, I think gamers ultimately appreciate that. Customer service as a gamer is a rare thing. So I think they're pleasantly surprised when they hear back from us in a couple minutes.
Yeah, no, it certainly is a thing. You're mentioning that before services such as yourself, there was a lot of cheating going on, and the same kind of attitude kind of spilled over. And there are a lot of companies out there that don't do exactly what you just outlined, and they're in it for the quick buck, the steal, the what have you. Because, we're talking about video games, and I know that a lot of our listeners out there are probably thinking, well, you're talking in the orders of, kind of kids' money, $10 here, $15 there, $60 kind of there. But, talk about kind of, some of your larger transactions, because I know it goes beyond, lunch money.
Yeah, it actually gets really big really fast. You can buy... you'll see actual sales for a Dragon Lore, which is a very, very coveted skin, for $35,000 on our site, and I'm not kidding, $35,000. And we've seen transactions in the virtual item space over $100,000, and so people really value these things. I mean, look, I think it's similar to when people buy a pair of Michael Jordans that were, worn by somebody famous, or, a baseball from the Cubs win, I mean, it can go for tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or even art, like what is value except in the eye of the beholder? And so people outside the gaming ecosystem can't believe it, because they're like, how could somebody be paying so much money for something that only lives inside of a video game? It's not even real. And I was like, well, I mean, if you can see it and you can talk about it, like, that's about as real as it gets, physical or non-physical. So, that being said, it's real. And we work people who will feel the same way. There are lots of them. As you know, there's 400 million PC gamers. And so we attract a lot of them to come and trade. So
right, you're definitely good company. So, and that gets me into, I think, our main point of you joining us here today. And these transactions, they've been traditionally, like you said, through PayPal or on credit cards, things like that. There may be a couple other services out there, but it's traditionally been pretty hard to. Even you said it. You've rejected more of the transactions than you approve. It's just kind of one of those things. So, you're here to talk about an idea of. We've heard a lot about Bitcoin. We've heard a lot about blockchain technology. We've heard a lot about having transactions with ledgers that anyone can check, and essentially it's a good way to decentralize kind of currency and these transactions, and have them actually be meaningful. Make sure that they're good transactions and not someone trying to steal or scam something. Why don't you and I use a lot of buzzwords there, but why don't you break down your idea and what and what your idea is with Wax?
Yes, well, first of all, Ben, I want to hats off to you, because there are a lot of buzzwords flying around, and people use them a lot, and it's like we really kind of have to peel it back to put the meaning behind it so people really get it. So first, let me just sort of explain. I've been involved in cryptocurrency as well as the other under executives at Opskins for a very long time, and we understood early on that decentralization was going to change everything. I mean, blockchain is essentially decentralized information, and it enables decentralized currency, decentralized databases, and the value of decentralization, you could sort of think of it like the same power as BitTorrent. Like BitTorrent created this file sharing system that ran independent of a single server. And so it's like you can't stop it. Now, of course, people use it to trade other people's information, intellectual property, that obviously has become a challenge for the media landscape. And what they found is that actually, I mean, there have been lots of studies, they're controversial, that actually increases, sales of music, increases sales of video. But at the end of the day, independent of that conversation, which is, a whole other discussion, it's clear that decentralization changes things, and it changes things fundamentally. And so when you put stored value, i.e. currency, in something that is decentralized, that means it has no jurisdiction. That means governments can't determine its value or inflate it. And so I think there's a real movement towards decentralization. Decentralization comes from ideas of libertarianism. It comes from ideas of self-determination and freedom, and I think gamers actually love that. In general, I think it fits philosophically. Gamers don't want to be told what to do. They just want to do what they do.
If you don't mind, I'm going to jump in there. Like I'm not going to quickly assume that all gamers are libertarian, but I think it's more of a trend that we've seen with gaming, with services such as yourself, where they'll come down, and where there's real where there's real money, real jobs on the line, when there's real assets, these companies, they come down and they close up shop, they file injunctions, they shut down currency, they there's a lot that the legal system, it needs to catch up to where we are currently with technology. It's very, very behind the times. And I think what you're kind of describing, it's not so much that you are libertarian if you want to use this. It's just that what you're doing it's a bit beyond, kind of what the law says. It's a bit beyond what the law kind of dictates, and you can lose a lot, even though rightfully what you guys are doing isn't strictly, isn't that bad. Like you said, you're providing a needed function.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mean to imply that
Right.
you have to be libertarian to like freedom. I think there's a lot of people like freedom of the transaction with no centralized system involved. You don't have to worry about a company going out of business. You don't have to worry about it being, acting inappropriately with your funds. It's all transparent. Everyone can see it, and it becomes relied upon by the industry. And so we realized, oh my gosh, with decentralization, cryptocurrency, and blockchain, plus item trading, these things are natural fits, because the same problems that cryptocurrency solves, these are the same problems that the item trading industry has. You have these microtransactions. So imagine, like, if you're sitting in one country and I'm sitting in another country and we try to trade an item that's $1,
Mm-hmm.
it's impossible to do that now. There's no way to move $1 from British pounds to Chinese yuan and then to US dollars. It gets eaten alive by the fees and currency conversion. But with microtransactions in cryptocurrency, you could do that all day long. And now you can enable billions of transactions between hundreds of millions of gamers instantly and instantaneously without worrying about losing your stuff. So obviously escrow, security, and safety. So, and speed. I mean, everybody likes things to be fast and cheap. So we said, you know what, this is an inevitability. And if we don't do it, someone else will. So we kicked off a design, tried to do it, built a white paper, put together, a top team of both. We have a big announcement coming next week with top people in the gaming industry, top people in the cryptocurrency industry. We'll be announcing early next week on their involvement in the project. And we published a white paper that explains what we're doing. And we've already had the biggest cryptocurrency institutions get involved with us as partners. So we're seeing just an incredible response on this, and we think it's because we've hit this zeitgeist where people realize, cryptocurrency can go mass market if it solves a problem for a lot of people who have a specific set of needs. And it turns out gamers are those people. They have a specific set of needs. Crypto solves that. Decentralization solves that. And so WAX, Worldwide Asset Exchange, is the fit. It's the key to go into that lock to unlock what we think will be millions of new entrepreneurs in the digital world who will get to buy and sell goods and take their passion for gaming and turn it into a lifestyle that supports them.
Right.
They can be in their mom's basement and be a millionaire. They can only eat Taco Bell, but they can actually go out and eat caviar if they want, because other gamers can buy and sell because of the technology.
Right. Well, here's my next question for you. And, this has to kind of piggyback off the fact that, we've seen a lot of different cryptocurrencies, because I think, Bitcoin is the most popular. That is the one I think people sometimes only associate with cryptocurrency. They mean, oh, you just mean Bitcoin. No, there's a lot of different coins that, using the same technology, you can make your own. I mean, the software behind it is open source. You can change it, and you can make it your own currency. Now, we've heard of a lot of different currencies come out to market lately. Ever since Bitcoin hit $4,000, people are like, I want to replicate that with my own currency that we can use internally, or kind of put our brand stamp on it. Explain, or more to me, maybe to our listeners. This isn't vaporware, right? Like, this isn't like a .com bubble. These currencies actually have value, right?
Absolutely. They have, tens of billions of dollars of value now. And the difference, okay, so first of all, let's just roll back. There's over 1,100 different coins and tokens today.
Right.
It is massive, the number that are out there. They're adding more every day. But here's the thing. Not all of them have a need to exist. In other words, they don't all solve problems that need to be solved or do anything unique. So you have tons of coins that act just like Bitcoin. They're like literally just a skinned version of Bitcoin, and they don't do anything unique. But then you have other ones which are incredibly valuable. And so I was an investor in the first ICO ever called Mastercoin, and William and Quigley, our CEO, and Jonathan Yantis were also the first investors in the first ICO. And it failed, but the second instantiation was Omnicoin. That one failed. So Mastercoin was the father of the smart contract, and Omni was the mother, and its little baby was Ethereum. And Ethereum has been growing like crazy. You may have heard of it. It's the second largest market cap in the world in cryptocurrencies. And so we've been involved in this technology since the beginning. And it has a function which is totally different than other coins. And it enables, it's like Bitcoin is dumb digital currency and Ethereum is smart digital currency. That was like the simple explanation. There's like sort of church and state people kind of, they're big Bitcoin supporters, they're big Ethereum supporters. And I mean, I sort of like, hey, whatever works, like they all solve problems that are interesting. For us, for what we're doing with Wax, neither Bitcoin nor Ethereum solve the problem we're trying to solve, because we need high throughput. I mean, we need many more transactions, many times more transactions per second than Bitcoin or Ethereum can support. That's number one. Number two, it's too expensive. If we had to pay for each transaction the way it works today, that nobody would be able to trade. So we need higher throughput, and we need, almost free, transactional costs. That means you have to continue to innovate technology, which is why Wax has to be its own protocol, be its own coin, be its own token, and that's what we've designed. It's all described in the white paper for you geeks out there who want to like get really deep into. I mean, I'm a geek too. MIT, building all this stuff for since I was a kid, but. We get into the details of the whys and wherefores for people who want to know. Just go to waxtoken.com and you'll read all about it.
Yeah, we'll definitely include a link in the show notes to waxtoken.com. I'm actually looking at it.
Oh yeah,
it said you have a big countdown there showing that it's you have your public pre-sale in just under 4 days, and it very, very exciting time for you guys, I'm sure. And it says here that you're going to be selling, the initial chunk, 64,750,000 coins at the pre-sale or during the token sale. And then, just like other cryptocurrencies, as you use your computer to solve to calculate transactions, you earn, I'm sure, Wax tokens as you would, any other cryptocurrency. So, you capped it out at 185 million coins. Do you have any kind of time scale when you're expecting to kind of hit that, 2025, something like that?
2025?
I'm sorry. In your white paper here, it says you're going to be only releasing 185 million Wax tokens are ever going to be created.
Yep.
Do you know when about that ceiling is going to be hit?
Oh, well, so basically the tokens that are getting issued are all getting authorized when we issue all the tokens. Later this year. It's just the ones in circulation are the ones that are being issued at the token sale. Those would be the ones in initial circulation. So all the other ones that exist will be retained by the company, and we're going to use that to help grow the ecosystem. Okay. So market development is the biggest piece, where we're going to incentivize the different sites out there with lots of traffic to use the Wax technology to drive, more transactions, because we want to get as many items listed on the Wax blockchain as possible, right? We want billions of items on there, and so we're using the tokens as incentives. So the people who are buying the tokens in the token sale are basically providing the resources for us to go and build the technologies, and then we're going to use the tokens to help and the resources from the token sale, proceeds from token sale, to go and build the whole ecosystem. Because we're trying to build, I didn't mention it, but this is a $50 billion market. That's $50 billion market of skins trading, and we want to grow it to a $500 billion market. So, like, how could you potentially grow a market, 10 times. It's a massive undertaking, and so the resources that we're collecting from this are to basically help enable that growth.
I got you. I got you. No, makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So, I mean, you definitely have your work cut out for you. And just, kind of speaking,
no doubt about it.
Yeah, and cryptocurrency and things like this, it's definitely going to be, a key part of this. But the other part is the market staying healthy. The idea that there are skins to trade, that there are, kinds of assets in games that people are going to want to spend real money for. How do you foresee the health of that market? Do you think that, obviously CSGO, it's been around for 16-ish years or something like that, still going strong, but, not everything stays around forever. Like, is there a continued market for, what you're doing?
Oh, yeah. Here's what's amazing, Ben. We have created a guild concept where a group of gamers can vote to say, hey, we want to trade items from this new game, and we don't have to do a thing. In other words, the system is designed to be self-regulating and self-organizing. So if a new game comes up and people want to trade it, they can create a guild for that asset class, i.e. game, and then they can vote in transfer agents, escrow agents, who will handle the movement of an item from a seller to a buyer, and then all the other technologies there ready to go to enable payment to process and to the right parties to get paid out, and we don't have to do a single thing. So once this system is in place, it will forever change the industry, because any item can be traded by a group of gamers who say, we'd like to trade that item. I mean, as long as the item's tradable in the game, these guys anyone can decide to basically activate wax and that item, or that class of items from that game. So this is a complete, pardon my pun, a game changer, because now all tradable items will be accessible ultimately by the audience of people who care about it. I mean, this is mind blowing. Then here's the other thing. You could use the same system for any asset class. Like, let's say that you like rare coins or rare stamps. So guys could form a guild and say, hey, send me your items and stamps. I'll put them in a vault. I'll put beautiful pictures of them up on the blockchain. I'll send you a token that's secure, and anyone who presents that token can redeem it any time. You could then trade that token with somebody across the world, and the stamp or the rare coin or painting or whatever it is never moves.
Yeah,
so
great.
That's why we call this a worldwide asset.
And just real quick,
any asset.
Just real quick, Malcolm, would you mind staying over for just a minute so we can wrap this up and do a proper send-off?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So everyone, stay tuned. More Computer America. We are talking to Opskins, and we are talking about wax and wax coins and things like that. So everyone, stay tuned. More Computer America just after this.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 31 minutes past the hour as we wrap up here with our guest today, and that is, again, Opskins. You can find more information, everything that we've talked about and more over at, of course, opskins.com. That's how you spell it. And then, of course, over at waxtoken.com. So, and Malcolm, I really wanted to, give you another minute or so just to kind of, if people want to find out more information, obviously, you guys are having, a sale here in, like I said, just under 4 days. What are you hoping that the listeners out there will kind of do? And, maybe if they're not, because I think a lot of these initial coin offerings, I think in a lot of cases, they're hoping that they invest early in, the next Ethereum, in the next Bitcoin. They're a lot of people see these initial coin offerings as a way to invest more than, and of course, Computer America doesn't endorse, don't come at us if you lose your money. But what can our listeners do with Wax Token, and what's does this have any value for someone who doesn't actively play video games, trade skins, blah blah blah?
I think of token sales like ours, because we're a utility token, we're not a security. Token sales are like ours are essentially the ability to buy a function prior to it being released, or very early, maybe like as it's being released, let's say early in the development life cycle. And so like a Kickstarter, people bought into Kickstarters because they're like, you know what, we really love this widget, this thing, this new phone charger, right? A wireless phone charger, let's just say. And they really love it and they're passionate about it. And I think a lot of token sales start out that way. Now, yes, there has been, many 1000x returns, not percent, returns, many 1000x returns on people who bought early in some of these initial coin offerings. So I think some people think of it as speculative, but we don't think of this as, we don't think of it as, hey, this is an investment. We think of this as a utility that it will increase in value because people use it, and we're designing it to be used. We want 400 million gamers to love Wax just like they love Opskins today, and we want to enable thousands of other websites to have Opskins capability by using Wax, and they get it for free. That's our goal. And so if people love that idea and they want to support it, they want to be part of it, I'd say come on in. But this is not an investment. This is essentially creating a utility that people care about and love. So that's kind of our perspective. There's lots of gamers who love it, and we want to welcome them with open arms.
Very, very well said. I can't imagine ending on a higher note. And again, if people want to find out more, where should they go?
Oh, yes. So if you want to find out about Wax, go to waxtoken.com, W-A-X token, waxtoken.com. And if you want to trade some skins, go to Opskins, O-P-S-K-I-N-S, opskins.com.
All right, very awesome. So again, we will have links to both of those in the show notes, and I want to say thank you again, Malcom, for coming on the show. This was a lot of fun. I knew that it was going to be a little heady, but I think you did a great job breaking it down for us. And again, thanks for all the information.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. It was a pleasure to be on the show.
All right, have a great day. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
All right, and there he goes, everyone. So with that being said, yeah, that was again, kind of a lot of information to take in, but makes a lot of sense. And again, talking about the worldwide asset exchange and their hope of creating a currency that is a bit more verifiable than just kind of handing over a PayPal account or whatnot. This is again, if this takes off the way that they seem to think it will, then hey, we're going to hear a lot more about them. So before we jump into computer and technology news, why don't we actually do a winner? That's right, a winner for a contest. So that's right, and thousands of you have entered, and we are going to pick one today to be our lucky winner. So this week's winner, as soon as we pick them up. All right. Do our little thing here, draw one winner, and this week's winner is... All right, this week's winner is Mr. Daniel Legault. Daniel Legault, he listens to us in Los Angeles, California, and all he had to do was follow Computer America on twitch.tv. Check that out. So Daniel, if you're listening, thank you so much for entering the contest. Everyone else out there who is not Daniel, well, next week could be your week to win a great prize, again, from our friends over at Logitech. So, I think with that, we're going to go ahead and jump straight into computer and technology news. Brought to you by Fire Dragon Security. Here we go. All right, so we have a couple stories here. One that was breaking yesterday, we didn't get a chance to kind of cover, but it's okay because, it seems to be developing over the past 24 hours. So remember, there was allegations that Kaspersky was aiding the Russian government, because Kaspersky Labs was was and still is a very respected name in in malware and antivirus and things like that. Well, Kaspersky was even to the point where a lot of government computers, they won a number of government contracts, places such as the Pentagon, such as the NSA, what have you, were actually under the protection of Kaspersky software. Nothing too unorthodox about it. It's a thing that happens, and yeah, well, turns out that Kaspersky may have inadvertently helped the Russian government hack the NSA, the National Security Agency. So this coming to us from Ars Technica. Mr. Dan Gooden, and Russia reportedly stole NSA secrets with help of Kaspersky. And, again, this is a recap of what we know. So this is, this article is pretty long, so we're going to try to breeze our way through it. But as I understand it, it's not strictly Kaspersky's fault. They did exactly to the Russian government what they did to the U.S. government, and that was they were able to, they turned over their source code to the U.S. government so that they could check for backdoor, so that they could check for, any kind of surreptitious monitoring of information going on through the network, things like that. Essentially, Kaspersky said, "Here you go, check us out. We have nothing to hide." And as I understand it, they did the same to the Russian government, where they, handed over their source code to the Russian government and said, "Check it out. We have nothing to hide." And what the Russian government did then was that they found security holes. They found ways to get around certain parts of the software. And because this software was, again, being used by the U.S. government, well, the Russian government was able to exploit that in return for obtaining some of the NSA's information. But to get to the heart of this, let's just go ahead and do the article. So the Wall Street Journal just published an incendiary article that says hackers working for the Russian government stole confidential material from the National Security Agency's contractor's home computer after identifying files through the contractor's use of antivirus software, Kaspersky Lab. There you go. So the report may be true, but for now, there's no way to independently confirm it. And that the report is based on an unnamed people that the publication says had knowledge of the matter, and it provides no evidence to support its claim. So, and this was kind of what got Kaspersky Labs in trouble, a couple weeks ago, was that because they had a Russian name, the U.S. Senate was going after them, saying that they're part of the Russian spy network. And not strictly the case. Just because they're from Russia doesn't mean that they are tools of the Russian government. But anyways, they're being treated as such, and now this, I'm sure, does not help. So they said that the lack of detail leaves open the possibility that even if Kaspersky's antivirus did help Russian hone in on the highly sensitive code and documents, the disclosure was the inadvertent result of a software bug, and no one from Kaspersky Lab cooperated with the attack in any way. Again, like I said, this is not something that Kaspersky did maliciously or with intent. And also lost in the focus on Kaspersky Lab is the startling revelation that yet another NSA insider managed to sneak classified material out of the NSA's network and put it on an unsecured computer. Happens quite often, it seems. So, it goes into a bit here, but here we go, and we're going to jump down to the part where they claim that maybe, just maybe, Kaspersky Labs is a Russian proxy, but again, unverified. And they said that the report comes as concerns mount inside the U.S. about Russian hacking in general, and more specifically about whether Kaspersky Labs has ever or might in the future play a role in supporting such hacks. Rumors have swirled for years because of Kaspersky Labs' nationality and the early training founder Eugene Kaspersky received from the Russian government, and that the company was a Russian proxy that provided, or at least could provide when asked, the country's government with assistance in breaking into computers of Russian adversaries. Again, no proof whatsoever that has ever happened or has ever been asked of them, or even that they could do something like that. Because, like I said, Kaspersky has opened up their software for scrutiny by the U.S. government. If they would have found something, then they'd stop using it. But as I understand it, Kaspersky products are still in use by the U.S. government. So the U.S. government has never provided hard evidence for the private briefings or the DHS directive, saying that a former NSA hacker who is now CEO of a penetration testing firm said that the allegations aired on Thursday's Wall Street Journal are a plausible explanation, saying that that's exactly the kind of behavior that would cause the U.S. government to do what they're doing, that there's only one really big thing, which is they think Kaspersky is operating as an agent for a foreign government, most likely wittingly or knowingly. So again, the U.S. government can think one thing, what is actually happening is another, but they have to go on what they can only assume. So again, kind of going through the article here, it kind of gets a little bit further again and again, but let's wrap it up here by saying that what shouldn't go overlooked in yesterday's report, is that this is the third known instance in the past 4 years of an NSA breach resulting from insider access to classified materials, saying that the best known case is whistleblower Edward Snowden, who was able to trawl through NSA networks, collecting documents for an extended period of time before turning them over to reporters. And a separate one, Harold T. Martin III, was arrested after he snuck 50 terabytes of confidential material out of the NSA and stored it at his home in Glen Burnie, Maryland. And that the trove comprises as much as 75% of the exploits belonging to the tailored access operations. And yeah, so those 50 terabytes, those were all the zero-day exploits that they were hoarding on, say, the Windows platform. Yeah, so that was another big thing. But again, most of these leaks happened because people are sloppy with their data or purposely release the data and bypass security measures. If the U.S. government wants to blame anyone, it would be an internal problem more than the Russian government or Russian owned, or not even Russian owned, but Russian antivirus programs. So, at any rate, the article wraps up there. We have a link to it in the show notes, but we're going to move on to something a bit happier. But suffice to say, Russia is supposedly behind these things. We'll find out more. I mean, Russia definitely does a lot of hacking, and they have put a lot of effort into, state-sponsored hacking, but not every road leads to Russia. Sometimes it's just sloppy data keeping. So, at any rate, why don't we go on to, all right, this is something happier. This is a bit sad as well. If you are one of the few people still using AOL Instant Messenger, well, I got some bad news for you. AIM is unfortunately shutting down after 20 years. Yeah, 20 years. It seems like just yesterday that AOL Instant Messenger was, making chat rooms and making connections all over the world. Well, the pioneering chat app that taught us to text is pulling the plug and saying that on December 15th, AOL Instant Messenger will shut down after running since 1997. Oof. And they said that AIM dominated online chat in North America at the turn of the century, but with SMS and social apps like Facebook and WhatsApp having conquered chat, AOL is giving up the fight with no planned replacement. And yeah, I kind of give major credit to Facebook for that one. I mean, yeah, to kind of connect with people, well, Facebook is head and shoulders more dynamic than AOL ever was. But I know that AOL is still used by a lot of people, and it's more of a chat app of habit than it is probably attracting new people. But still, Here we go, a statement from AOL saying that we know there are so many loyal fans who have used AIM for decades, and we loved working and building the first chat app of its kind since 1997. And they said that our focus will always be on providing the kind of innovative experiences consumers want. We're more excited than ever to focus on building the next generation of iconic brands and life-changing products, essentially saying, well, we know that exciting brands and life-changing products does not include AOL Instant Messenger, does not include a chat app. So there you go. And they said that, third-party support for macOS, Windows, iOS, Android, all those apps that use AIM, they're being pulled off life support as well, and will no longer function either. So let's see. So yeah, sure, why not? Whatever. All right, so regardless of TechCrunch being owned by AOL, this moment is bittersweet for the author, saying that AIM taught me to write as a 12-year-old, and trying to navigate the world of grade school friendship and romance. He was a shy kid who fumbled for words, and AIM was where he chatted with his first girlfriend. And I think, many people, my age group and more, have similar experiences where AIM was the first time that you could have constant communication with someone, and in most cases, it was definitely something innovative. So AOL Instant Messenger going offline for the last time, December 15th. Get your last messages in. Get those Facebook names, and time to jump ship. All right. So how about we do? All right, how about we do this one? So in the department of whoever thought this was a good idea should, have a stern talking to. Never wish anyone's fired, but a kid-friendly smart speaker from Mattel has been pulled amid privacy concerns. And a certain part of me just says, well, duh. There's not a lot of wiggle room in the fact that smart speakers, whether they be for adults or for kids, they are data collection centers. They collect everything and anything that you talk to it about it. They collect your speech habits. They collect metadata. It's just kind of what they do. They're very cool, very stylish, pretty useful data collection centers. And designing one for a kid, especially in a day and age where kids, 13 and under, do have certain digital rights, not the best idea for Mattel of all people to come out with one. So Mattel announced its digital assistant-powered smart speaker for kids, Aristotle, this past January, and the Echo-style audio device was set to offer baby monitoring, games, facts, and sounds to help soothe your children. Well, Mattel promised it would be able to learn your child's voice too and grow with their speech development. And, the author from Gadget says that we were able to catch a glimpse of it at CES this year, where we learned that the toy company created a custom AI engine with natural language processing to learn how your child pronounces words. And according to a report from the Washington Post, the toy company has now canceled the device amid concerns of privacy and the role of technology in child development and parenting. Like half that, I completely agree. I'm completely behind. I think technology and kids growing up today, whether their parents know it or not, they are signing away their kids' life, essentially, through social media, through data collection, through profiles, through internet searches. Like, kids growing up today have profiles bigger than anyone else, and will. The other part of it, child development and parenting and the role of technology in that, I can only kind of speculate because obviously I don't have kids, but technology is going to play a huge part, and it's going to have, I'd hope, a mostly positive effect on kids and even parents who are trying to raise these kids and trying to, you know how they say that they don't, there's no book on parenting, or there's no manual for kids, well, technology can be that manual. But a smart speaker, probably not the way to go. So, according to the Washington Post, 2 members of Congress sent Mattel a letter last week asking for more information about how Aristotle would store and retain the data collection on children. And Mattel has already made assurances that any data collected would be in compliance with COPPA and HIPAA and would use encryption to transmit any activity, including baby monitor video stream. Well, pediatrician Jennifer Radesky has her own concerns about the role of technology in early development, saying that her main concern about this technology is the idea that a piece of technology becomes the most responsive household member to a crying child, a child who wants to learn, or a child's play ideas. I don't know. All right, whatever. So when reached for comment, a Mattel spokesperson told Engadget that after our new CTO joined the company in July, he conducted an extensive review of the Aristotle product and decided that it did not fully align with Mattel's new technology strategy, and that the decision was then made to not bring Aristotle to the marketplace as part of an ongoing effort to deliver the best possible connected product experience to our customers. So I don't know how to take the second part of that, but this isn't the first time we've seen a connected device for kids and had it go crazy the wrong way. Like, there's been actually hacks of toy companies that had kids, recorded speech, kind of right there and stored on the cloud. So obviously, that's the last thing any toy company wants, is that they lost their user data, and especially when those users happen to be, 18-month-old kids. So I would definitely say a good look there for Mattel. All right, so with that being said, we have time for just one more story. We have a couple here that we're not going to be able to get to, but how about we do this one? Actually, we don't have time for that one. All right, so instead we're going to do this one, and this is about a company that you thought you heard the last of. Well, turns out not really. So BlackBerry's water-resistant motion revealed in leak. So you can check out the video portion. We have the image of it there. But the title, what it means is BlackBerry, the company, partially owned by Research in Motion. Their new phone, Motion, which is an Android device, not a BlackBerry device. They're not trying to. BlackBerry has officially killed any idea that BlackBerry operating system devices are going to be a thing. Nope. Now they're Android. And this is the first Android phone we have brought to you by BlackBerry. So they said that BlackBerry's decision to embrace Android may not restore the brand to its former glory, but it's a promising start. And saying that we were impressed with the latest phone, the Key 1, which catered to the classicist and its hardware keyboard. But its follow-up will once again ditch the branding defining physical characteristics, so that means no more keyboard. And they said that if a new leak is to be believed. And again, you can kind of, you can definitely see the phone. Very traditional. I mean, I don't think you'd readily confuse it with an iPhone, but bezels are definitely there, and it does have essentially a home button, but it's of course BlackBerry, kind of labeled home button, and the screen doesn't cover the entire front of the phone like many other, phones do nowadays. So that's what we have. So the they said that the rumor mill already let slip that the device would pack virtual keys, and that they said that the phone will be water resistant. But aside from offering up a proper look at its design, Blaz also dropped what may be its official title, saying that the handset everyone was referring to as Krypton is reportedly dubbed BlackBerry Motion. And saying that we can't say the name change comes as much of a surprise, seeing as the key one also had a different title, Mercury, during its prototype stage. And in terms of looks, BlackBerry Motion doesn't fall in line with the current bezel-free trend. It also contains a home button with an embedded BlackBerry logo. And there's a 3.5mm headphone jack, so in many ways it's a classic device, albeit not in the traditional BlackBerry mold. And still, that doesn't mean that the company is doing away with its other defining features, saying that the Motion will carry the robust security software that BlackBerry prides itself on, and apparently boast a mammoth 26-hour battery life. And I feel like if they can convince the professional community that this is secure, that this has a lot of really must-have applications for business, same thing that made Research in Motion one of the best business smartphones on the market, and they make it easy to use, secure, and a long battery life with some of the more classic features. This could be a real contender for kind of corporate smartphones, the ones that you kind of get through your business. But that's kind of all you need, all these bells and whistles that iPhone 10 is coming out with, that the Samsung line has come out with, those aren't strictly necessary, So leave the bells and whistles behind. BlackBerry seems to be trying to go for a more classic approach. So with that being said, if you want to check out that story or more, again, feel free to check out ComputerAmerica.com. We have links to everything, including today's guest, which you can find at opskins.com or waxtoken.com as well. We'll include a link in the show notes to that. So until next time, everyone, thank you for tuning in on Friday. It's been a lot of fun, and we'll be sure to bring you another full week of episodes. That's right, this upcoming week. So Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern. Tune in next week as we have Mant VR. That's right, we're going to be talking augmented reality, virtual reality, and we're going to be doing that on Monday. And then also be sure to check out Matter and Form. I believe they're a 3D printing company, if I recall correctly. And we have some of your favorite correspondents, Sandy Berger, Ralph Bond, and more coming up next week. So a lot of great guests. Tune in next time. And hey, be sure to check out ComputerAmerica.com. Check out the podcast version of the show, be it on iTunes, on Google Play, on iHeartRadio, wherever you find your podcast. Hey, check us out there as well. So until next time, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much. And thanks for tuning in to Computer America. Bye-bye.